Oh yeah, I am recording. Hey guys, it's Retro Rose here, and welcome back to another Mushy Monday where we play a cute, cozy game, and we're going to continue our life beginning and always. And if you're new here, again, my name is Retro Rose. I play a variety of games from cozy, horror, indie horror, visual novel, RPG, JRPG, you name it. And I hope after this video that you like and subscribe and become a part of my Rose Garden. Without further ado, let's get started. You spotted your mom. Oh, you spotted mom first, reclining on the couch. She held a magazine in her hands, which she was pursing through. Morning, Mom. She looked up at your greeting, and a smile instantly appeared on her face.
Thanks.
Hey, good morning, Rose. Thank you for coming down. Mom's at the door with Cove. He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why don't you go and thank him before he leaves? You nodded and made your way in front of the house. Just as she said, Mom was there making conversation. She must have heard you because she looked over her shoulder. Oh, hair is so pretty. Look who finally made it. Good morning, sleepyhead. Mom reached forward, and you knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than the average for an adult woman. So at your height, you were absolutely tiny in her eyes. You let her do it. You happily let her do it. That type of small, affectionate exchange was nice. She placed the whole of her hand on top of your head for a second before lifting it back up. Ah, you're the last one down today. You know that. I was going to stay in any longer, so you're welcome. Sorry about that. Oh, there's no need for that. What matters is that you're here now. With a small laugh, Ma stepped aside. Cove was just as you remembered, exactly how you came to know him to be. Oh, he's adorable. He leaned uncomfortably to the side in your doorway as his bushy hair covered part of his face. His features were pinched in embarrassment, and he shifted from one foot to the other. He was holding what must be the much talked about gift. At first glance, you figured it must be a bouquet of flowers, and you gave it a real look. No, instead, it was actually cut fruit. Oh, I love edible arrangements. They're so cute. It made a lot of sense that it was actually from Cove's dad. You had to suppress a laugh at this showing. You couldn't imagine many folks buying that sort of thing for their own personal enjoyment. That kind of arrangement was built for the presentation, likely to impress whoever is inevitably going to receive it. It seemed no matter how long he lived here, Mr. Holden would keep going out of his way to be neighborly, and Cove would always be roped into participating. Both sighed in relief at the sight of you. He must have been braving some embarrassment to get this far. That had clearly been what he was waiting for. Hey, Rose. He broke eye contact then, staring down at the ground instead. Your heartbeat sped up. Being near him, you smiled back fondly. He always had this kind of effect on you. You couldn't help think ever since the two of you were kids. There was something about him that was just special in some strange and indescribable way. Hey, Rose, it's nice to see you. Oh, well, hey, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I mean, it's nice seeing you too. Not that it's nice for you to see me. The both of you had a bit of a laugh, though your gazes still didn't meet again. It was already shaping up to be another long summer. The best part was that the two of you had plenty of time to enjoy each other's company and relish in what you had together. This awkwardness over the task started to creep back in, so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. Your hands brushed over his just slightly. When you took hold of the base, he flinched enough for you to know with certainty that he noticed it happened. You couldn't help but smile to yourself. And with that, the gift was accepted. He's so stinking cute. He's so cute. Well, that's everything. Though he had said that he made no move to go, you could tell he was reluctant to. You are too cute sometimes. Oh, I'm not trying to be. Just thank my dad for all this, okay? All right. Mr. Holden's behavior really was different from any neighbor you had ever had, though after 5 years you were used to his antics, and you'd since made up your mind on what your opinion was. He was great. He was great and kind of handsome to boot. Though there were some things people don't like about Mr. Holden, you don't mind them and liked him quite a bit. And even if he was Cove's dad, you couldn't pretend like he wasn't a nice looking guy. That was good too. But it was something you kept to yourself. Your thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. There you are. A shared a confused look with Cove as one where both of you stepped through the door on your neighborhood street. It didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. I guess I was a little confused. You hadn't expected to see Derek today, though you never really knew when he'd appear. After stopping a couple steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. He looked up with a wide grin. Hey, guy and gal. He's so tiny. Oh, I forgot Cove is like up here. You can't even see my hand no more. That's how tall that boy is. I was just at your house, Cove, but no one was there. Should have figured you'd be at Rose's place. Do you ever spend time in your own home, or are you always just here? He's so cute without his glasses, too. Derek laughed at his own joke. He either didn't notice that it embarrassed Cove, or the embarrassment was what he was actually laughing at. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more when his eyes widened and he gasped. What's that? You followed his gaze, unsure, then you realized what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. This? It's kind of like a bouquet of roses, but it's made out of fruit. Nice. Can I have some? Sure, we can share. Derek grew more excited by your words, bouncing on the balls of his feet. Awesome. Then he nods his head as if to clear it. Anyway, that's right. I came here because I needed to say something big. He paused, possibly for effect. There's some other kid here in the Sunset Bird. Cove was as surprised as you were by the news. Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age had moved here since Cove did 5 years ago. Were they with their family? Maybe they were cutting through. Nuh-uh, the new kid was all by himself, just walking. Did you talk to him? Nope, I came to report the sighting right away. The kid had green hair, glasses, and was pretty small, and seemed really upset about something. I hope he didn't leave. You blink slowly and you look over to your longtime neighbor. That sounds a lot like you, Cove, when you first got here anyway. Does it? He shook his head, dismissing the thought from his mind. Derek snickered good-naturedly. I can see that really well, now that you say so. But what did you say? Let's go find Cove's look-alike. We should all meet him. I'll do it. Sure. I want to see who this person is. Derek grinned, then he pointed down the street the way he came. Last I saw him, the mysterious visitor was going this direction. Nothing else needed to be said. The three of you were off, with Derek leading the way. Derek brought you to the beach, and as a trio you made your way down the shore to the old playground. You walked the familiar path in a comfortable silence. When you were almost there, you spotted the kid in question. His bright colors almost shone like a beacon beneath the rays of the sun. He scuffled around, kicking up the sand as he paced. It was true, he certainly seemed upset, but you didn't think he was sad like you had originally pictured. No, his erratic movements and scrunch-up expression came off angry. You started to have doubts about this expedition. Maybe it'd be better if you left him alone and let him sort himself out. You shared a look with Cove, and he was equally reluctant to start up a conversation. Derek didn't feel the same. He waved wildly, calling out to the boy. Hey, guy, over here. The kid whipped around an impressive scowl, carving deeper into his face, and his eyes were tired, but a strong hostile energy still radiated from him. What is it? What do you want? A sharp tone made Derek flinch. He shifted on his feet. What's your name? Jeremy. Was that it? No, I'm Derek. That's Rose and Cove. We were just walking around and saw you. We wanted to say hi. There aren't a lot of kids our age in the neighborhood. Yeah, so it's cool to see someone else here. Stranger Jeremy grew furious by your response. If steam could erupt from a person's ears, it would have happened then. They did bring me somewhere stupid, of course. I knew it. Huh? What? My parents, they were the ones who brought me. I didn't walk to this town. Can you not figure that out on your own? Right, my dad brings me to Sunset Bird too. When he has to come for work and all that stuff, it's not bad. That earned him a glare from Jeremy. Derek winced beneath it, glancing away. It was a struggle to remain friendly with this Jeremy guy. I mean, I wouldn't want to come here for a real vacation probably either. That's an understatement. This doesn't count as a vacation. It was a waste of time, a chore. My parents' family is nearby, and we just had to come see them. Ugh. If they're your parents' family, doesn't that make them your family too? I guess. That's a pretty good reason to come by. Did you want to go somewhere else? Jeremy crossed his arms with a huff, and he turned away. They should have gone by themselves since they cared so much and left me home. But I'm not allowed to be by myself. It makes no sense. They're the ones who didn't know how to do anything, and I'm the kid. Who peed in your cereal this morning is crazy. I'm sorry, it must suck being forced to do something you don't want to. As if that does anything. You turn to Cove, lowering your voice. The two of you aren't that similar after all. Jeremy must have had good hearing though, because he caught the private exchange and scoffed. Of course we're not similar. My eyebrows aren't stupid. Oh, Cole's cheek flushed crimson at the insult, and you couldn't be sure if it was out of embarrassment or anger, maybe both. Come on. How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut? How can you say that when you have a bowl cut? Yep, it's embarrassing and awful, but my parents made me. I don't have I don't have to have it when I'm older. I don't know what he's going to do with those things except maybe shave them off. He probably should. I bet he looked less dumb with no eyebrows. I'm finna be mean to this kid. You cross your arms over your chest. You're getting really tired of this. Wow, what's wrong with you? Instead of taking offense, Jeremy only parroted Derek's words in a nasally voice. I want to hit this kid. This is dumb. Jeremy stuck out his tongue and stalked away, throwing more sand everywhere as he went. You watched him go, hunched over, until he became a speck in your vision. Silence reigned in his wake. The three of you tried to process what just happened. I can't believe. What a mean kid. Derek wasn't kidding, and by the sound of the earlier complaints, the new boy Jeremy was going to be in the area at least for a little while this summer. Derek sighed in dismay, plopping onto the ground. You followed, and Cove did shortly after. There wasn't much else to do. This sucks. I was hoping we could meet someone fun and hang out maybe. He shook his head after a moment. He slowly turned to you with a hopeful expression. But you know what would really improve the day? What? He didn't respond. Instead, he used his hand to point right at the fruit arrangement that you were still holding. You completely forgotten about it during the mini drama that unfolded, and you had gotten used to the wait. Glancing over to Cove, you noticed he was eyeing the fruit. He must have wanted some too. Why not? Let's eat. Derek perked up immediately at your words. He reached out for a skewer, hesitating slightly once he was inches away. Are you sure? You nodded with an eager grin. He plucked out a prime row of fruits. Cove grabbed one for himself after him. Only you were without a skewer of your own. Ooh, pineapple. I'll do a pineapple skewer. The pineapple cut to look like a flower. It was the obvious first choice. Derek ate a pineapple skewer enthusiastically, finishing it within moments. This is delicious. It's amazing. Cove continued munching on his, making a small noise with his mouth full. Hey, you two remember the Land Before Time? Oh my gosh. I remember that. The fruit thing makes me think of it. The dinosaurs are kind of all like leaves. They were shaped like stars. Tree stars. Yeah, chomping leaves look so delicious when they did it. And there was this scene with the pretty trees, and all the dinosaurs came in and picked everything off of them until there was nothing. It was us right now. That's awesome. I love that movie. Do you think things taste better when they're shaped like stars? He snickered. Not everything, but it probably helps. The three of you continue like this for the next few moments. Eventually, the display was barren. It looked weird when devoid of fruit. Eating it all hadn't really made you feel better. It did help make you feel better. Derek was right. It was so good you were already brightening up from the earlier drama. Hey, Rose. Yeah? The two of you met eyes casually. That was pretty cool, what you said back to that guy. Oh, thanks. I was just saying what I thought. Derek chimed in while in high spirit. You totally owned him. I don't know what his parents say, but it's good at least somebody is around to tell him what it is. Yeah. Derek then leaned back on his arms and contemplated the sky with a content smile. So are you both ready for summer break? Are you? Well, it feels like there's a lot to plan for. And what about you, Cove? Are you ready? Yes. Before you could say anything else, a light atmosphere was shattered. Oh, it's Elizabeth. Hey, Rose. You glance over your shoulder to see your sister. She strode closer and closer, appearing not too pleased. I've been looking all over for you. Ma said you and Cove ran off with the thing Mr. Holden bought for us. She leered over your arms and folded. So where is it? Well, it's gone. What do you mean, gone? You moved over to the side to face her completely. She zeroed in on the bouquet in your hands, which was now populated exclusively with skewers, dipping in juice, and tiny flakes of leftover fruit pieces. Her mouth dropped open, and the tone of her voice rose. Seriously, Rose? What were you thinking? It was supposed to be for all of us at home. She glanced at Cove, who sat beside you, and continued mockingly. Even if you are the most important person in the household to deliver to the delivery boy, this was up to his dad. It seemed everybody was in a mood to tease you and Cove today. Cove's cheeks became a couple shades redder, but he didn't deny the accusation. He couldn't. Everyone knew the two of you gave each other special priority. Well, this morning had been kind of a disaster. Narrowed her eyes. Not at all placated. Oh no. I think you hear the mean kid coming back. We better get out of here. Elizabeth blinked, confused, and looked around. What kid? I don't see anyone. Derek didn't bother explaining. He just launched to his feet and ran off. Cove hopped up too, gladly taking the opportunity to exit the situation. He followed after Derek, but sent a look to you from over his shoulder. You turned to watch Elizabeth as she stared back and brows raised. You ran. Without a word, you two got to your feet and bolted down the beach unimpressed. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. They're so immature. She shook her head as she walked towards the house, not bothered whatsoever to follow. Meanwhile, the three of you made it back to the shoreline. Derek pumped his fist, grinning in triumph. We escaped and shall live to see another day. Mom's going to be so mad when Elizabeth tells the story. Oh well. You chuckled together, walking further down the beach side by side. You definitely want to stay outside a little while longer. You had gotten a bit of a scolding from your moms for not saving any of the Mr. Holden's gift for Elizabeth, but you didn't get any real punishment for it. Instead, while you were out with the boys, Elizabeth returned home to share the news. The three of them went to get dessert on their own. It was declared even by your parents when everyone got back and the event was settled. That was a while ago now. Later that night, you found yourself seated near the kitchen counter. You were waiting on a call tonight, specifically from your cousin Leandra. You didn't want to miss it accidentally. Your uncle Aunt Lee used to live many hours away. Your family only saw each other a few times a year for big occasions. A while back, though, they'd moved and were closer to you than they had ever before. You now hung out regularly. With school being out, you were positive she was going to want to come over a lot. The two of you were the same age and got along well. She used to be really fond of Elizabeth too, but now that your sister had become allergic to the interaction with her own family, it tended to be just you and Lee who would spend time together. She was your only friend who was a girl. Being family helped make you close, but you had a lot of girlfriends. You often gravitated towards other girls and befriended them pretty easily. You also had a lot of non-girlfriends. You didn't have many non-girlfriends. It seemed that was just the type of person you associated with most at school. Then a shrill ringtone announced an incoming call. You jump before grabbing the receiver and pressing it to your ear. Smith resident Rose speaking. You're greeted by a distorted, high-pitched giggle. Why do you sound so weird? Mom answers the phone like that sometimes. It's supposed to be polite. You should go with hi. That was something a robot would say. There was a static on the end, as if Lee was shifting wherever she was. So you can't believe school's actually over? I thought I'd never be done. Now, we don't have to do any of the boring stuff, and we get to hang out whenever we want. Speaking of hanging out, Lee, can you wait for a second? Let me just head to my room. Oh yeah. You got up from your seat at the counter. Luckily, the phone was wireless. Oh my gosh, I remember wireless house phones. So you didn't have to worry about any cords tying you down. Your mom's had a rule about not moving the phone unless a call was in progress, which was why you've been sad by it. It's cradling, waiting for Lee to call. You thought that made sense. It was nice to keep everything in its proper place. But now that Lee had called, it was okay for you to go upstairs to your bedroom to talk to her. You made your way up the stairs smiling. After you had arrived, you shut the door firmly behind you. You took a seat on your bed. All right, I'm here. Cool. Hey, did you know that the girl down the street from me has her own phone now, a cell phone? She doesn't have to wait for someone else to stop using it or anything. Wow, really? You thought of someone having a phone that was all their own seem unbelievable to you, right? I wish I had one too. My parents said I couldn't get my own phone until I'm more grown up. I wish they'd changed their mind. We could call each other every single day and no one would be able to stop us. How great would that be? That would be really great. We could even stay up late talking about whatever we want. Lee sighed thoughtfully into the receiver. At least they said I could have it someday. I can't wait. She sighed dramatically. I bet I'm not going to get one until I'm all the way in college. Squeezing the phone between your shoulder and ear, you puffed up your pillows and made yourself more comfortable. It was strange to think of a time when normal school would be over and you'd have to choose whether or not to go to college. School was such a big part of your life right now. You worked hard. I worked pretty average. You guess that was reasonable enough. You felt a lot of pressure. You hoped to do well, just as well this year, but it wouldn't be a big deal, no. You were confident your grades would remain great. You could definitely turn things around from here on. Yeah. You tried to sound engaged, but your mind had decided to go back to school despite the season. Lee knew you too well to be fooled. You sound so spacey. What's up? Just thinking about school. Lee groaned. Are you thinking about how we don't have to think about it because it's summer? That's what I'm doing. It's like, come on, it's scary not to think about. No matter how much you want to enjoy your free time, the creeping dread of knowing that it would come at an end was always there beside you. I get what you mean. Though, I guess school isn't always that bad. You can do some good things there. You can just do more when the school's out. It's pretty easy to hang out with people in the neighborhood. If I didn't go to school, I'd probably never meet anybody new. No one really comes here. Learning new things could be cool. Lucky, mine's boring. Gym was pretty great though. There are all sorts of sports during the gym. Oh yeah, it can be fun sometimes. But that's all. And that's pretty much everything that's good about school. Okay, point taken. Now I decree the topic of school is officially closed. We have to talk about this summer first before we start plotting the rest of our lives. I got some plans already. Ooh, tell me. I'm going to visit my cousins. You chuckled, of course. What's something you want to do? The first thing that comes to your head. I've got new art supplies. I can't wait to try them out. I can't wait to see what you make. You lean back in your bed, settling in as you continue chatting with your friend. Even though it hadn't been long since you saw her and you've been seeing her soon, you found plenty to talk about. For one, the events of today, you sat up straighter. I was with Cove and Derek today and we met a new kid. Like at your neighborhood? His parents are visiting family, so it sounds like he'll be around for a little while. I don't know how long. What was he like? Mean. He kept snapping when we are all trying to do was talk to him. He just kept being rude to everyone. But especially Cove, it was awful. I don't think I want to meet him. You want a boy to stay away from before you ever meet him? That's an unexpected twist. Your cousin was pretty popular with the boys who knew her. She seemed happy enough to have them around until they started to annoy her. Hey, who are you to talk? You give practically all your attention to boys, or maybe just one boy. See how much you like Cove? That's a special case. Lee laughed at your defensiveness, deeply amused. Even though she couldn't see, you shook your head at her, grinning to yourself. There was a stomping noise approaching your room, hurtling the arrival of your irritated older sister. She flung the door open, a frown etched on her face. How long are you going to be hogged the phone? Glancing at your watch, you realized that your quick call had gone on much longer than anticipated. Elizabeth held out her hand and the other one lodged to her hip. She noticed the realization on your face. Time's up. With a sigh, you say your goodbyes to Lee. Lee, I have to go now. Okay, see you soon. Tell Elizabeth and her moms I said hi, and your moms I said okay. Okay, see you soon. Tell Elizabeth and your moms I said hi too. You barely pressed the end call button when Elizabeth whisked the handset from your fingers and began dialing someone new that she strolled out of the room. Your mom's voice called from downstairs. Hey, has anyone seen the phone? I'm using it. She shut your door behind you, and silence was left in the wake. That was one way to end your first day of summer break. Sometime later, it had gotten dark outside, and you laid in bed, wide awake. Your window rattled all of a sudden. Startling you badly, you flinched and started staring over at it with furrowed brows. From the vantage point, you saw only the moon and the open sky. You were confused. What had caused the noise? Frowning, you sat up and moved closer to the window. You might as well find a reason behind the disturbance. To your utter shock, your eyes met by a pair of familiar ocean blue eyes. Cove? You squinted. Yep, Cove was right outside your window. Your house was very angular, and some parts stuck out further than others, so it theoretically wouldn't be hard to climb around on. Still, just because somebody could didn't mean you expected it to ever happen. Cove looked awkwardly and unstable. His feet were braced against the section of the wall that had jutted. Oh my gosh, I thought he was like down below and through something, not that he was crawling. Oh my gosh. His arms were flexed with an effort to keep himself upright. With difficulty he waved, then he wobbled, immediately dropped his hand in alarm. You hurried to open the window. Cove scrambled inside, nearly falling flat on his face, but he was able to right himself in the end. He's so cute. I can't get over it. He released a breath once he was steady. Hi, Rose. What's up, Romeo? Amazing. My dreams can come true, Rose. I just wanted to see you. I figured this was the only way. If I rang the doorbell, I know your moms would have answered and they just make me go home. I didn't really want to explain why I was coming over anyway. I didn't want to talk about it. Well, besides with you, I mean, but that's why I did that. As unexpected as this was, you were touched by Cove. Felt like he could tell you what was wrong. I might have tried calling or something, except my dad was on the phone. Cove suddenly looked very cross. Dad was talking to my mom, and still is probably. You raised your eyebrows. Cove had eavesdropped on his parents' phone conversation? You didn't comment on the eavesdropping. There was other things to talk about. Are you going to stay with your mom for a while again? Every year, Cove was sent off to live with his mom for a few weeks. When it happened, varied. Sometimes he would go during the winter break, but usually he went during summer break. Even though it was hard news when you found out that he was leaving and you missed seeing him those weeks, you understood. To your surprise, however, he shook his head. That's what I thought too, but no, that's not what they were saying. My dad asked my mom to not have me leave this year. He said she could come stay with us here. You waited for him to continue. He didn't. The conversation abruptly dropped off. You couldn't help but stare at Cove. There was oh my gosh, I'm sorry. That was a lot to take in because they're divorced and he offered for her to come stay. Oh my goodness. We couldn't help but stare at Cove. There was a complicated mix of expressions on his face. What did your mom say? She told him she'd come. I know she's coming soon before school starts. Oh. You had heard Cove talk about his mom a lot over the years. He'd tell you about past memories and what happened while he was visiting her. Still, it was one thing to hear about someone and another to actually meet them very soon. You were going to see Cove's mom in person. You were taken aback by the news, so you could only imagine how Cove felt. You look over at him and he was pacing across your room, his features pained with dread. Before they'd barely stayed in the same room long enough to have lunch. Now they're going to be all together again, the three of us, after all this time, just for a few weeks. I know I should probably be happy that they can talk to each other now. I'm still not. I'm just confused and freaked out, and now I feel really bad for feeling this way. Rose, it's so... His fist tightened and his eyes became misty. I shouldn't keep getting like this. It's been a long time already, and I'm not a little kid. Though he wouldn't meet your eyes, you knew he was waiting for you to say something. Dang. There's nothing wrong with feeling bad. This is hard to deal with. Cove looked uncomfortable with the whole situation. He didn't want to have to open up like this. Thanks. I'm sorry for dumping this on you. I didn't know what to do, and you're the only thing I could come up with. A momentary silence fell over the two of you. You marveled at how the day started. You had spoken up, eager for summer vacation, but now things seemed so crazy. The mini debacle with Mr. Holden's gift and the newest addition to the neighborhood being so rude, and as if all that wasn't enough, now Cove's mom would be living with Cove and his dad again. Your whole life was kind of like that, it seemed, complicated and hard and different. Why couldn't things just be better with time? Rose? The sound of your name, said quietly, pulled you from your thoughts, and Cove gazed at you concerned. Oh, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. You did not want to make this conversation about you no matter how you felt. Cove grinned reassuringly in a small and delicate, but you knew it was genuine. Moonlight from the outside cast shadows across his face and lit up his eyes. They seemed to sparkle with his smile. Just that one look brightened your mood somewhat. You know, I think I don't want to talk any more about this. He looked away, his lips thinning into a line, and rubbed at his arms. But I kind of don't want to go back home either. Could I stay a little longer, just doing something else? He appeared equal parts hopeful and vulnerable. Could you possibly turn him away? Of course. You can always stay here, Cove. He held his gaze confidently, hoping your words got across to him. Cove perked up at your response, and a smile appeared on his face, and he immediately took a seat on your bed, not afraid to get comfortable in your room. You felt a little better at the sight somehow, and still had a lot of worries, but you were glad he was here. Not just tonight, you were glad he came into your life in the first place. That was a change you'd never want to undo. It felt totally natural to let him into your little world. He fit into it like a missing piece of the puzzle, and you were certain there was room to get even closer. Oh, you joined Cove on your bed, taking a seat across from him, and he smiled at you again, but you could tell this time it was half-hearted. He was still easy to read. You thought he didn't want to talk about his mom and dad. He must be thinking about what happened and what's about to happen. You hugged him. You moved closer and wrapped your short arms, look, I know I'm short, around him as much as you could. It wasn't much, but you'd hope the contact helped even a little. Cole froze up, startled. After a moment, he wrapped his arms came up, and he returned your hug. The two of you remained like this for some time. He might have mumbled something to you, but it wasn't too quiet to tell what it was. When you pulled back, his expression had softened into something more natural. Conversation was stilted and broken, often by silence at first. Then both of you were able to get into your usual candor. As your secret hangout session stretched on, you thought that you truly wanted to keep having moments like this with him. You hoped the day would never come when life decided that the two of you would have to part ways, and you knew Cole felt the same. You opened your tired eyes, groaning as they adjusted to the bright light that was streaming through your window and warming your tan skin. With a loud yawn, you rolled away from the sunlight and blinked a couple of times, clearing the sleepy from your eyes before realizing with the start it was actually morning. You couldn't remember even falling asleep. Cove had crept through your window during the night, and the two of you spent time together, trying not to wake your parents. You must have fallen asleep while you were hanging out and couldn't put your finger on exactly when. You wonder how late Cove had stayed before heading home. You rubbed your face and yawned again, contemplating whether you should get out of bed and get ready for the day, or stay snuggled up for a little longer, until your gaze landed on an instantly recognizable mop of pale green hair, and you bolted right up and gasped in surprise. He never left. Oh no. He was still here in the morning. Cove. He had fallen asleep while sitting on the ground and precariously leaning his head on the side of your mattress. With your shot, Cole's eyes snapped open and his head slipped from its source of support. He didn't stop going down until he smacked right into the floor with a crack. You clamped a hand over your mouth and looked down at him with the wide eyes and curled up where he had landed rather ungracefully. Ow. You laughed quietly. Cove gave you an unappreciative look, and you bit your lip to stifle your chuckling. If either of your moms found Cove had slept here last night, the two of you would be in big trouble. Cove blinked at you a couple times, his eyes growing in a panic as some thought that only he could hear settled in his mind. Oh my god, I fell asleep. You weren't exactly sure what to do as you watched Cove pace your room, looking around frantically. Cove stepped mid-step and you wanted to ask what he had been searching for, and you guessed he wouldn't know the answer to that himself. Despite that, he hadn't calmed down completely. The atmosphere was still frazzled. Settle down for our moms hear you, Cove nodded, and his shoulders tensed as he fixed you with a firm stare in his turquoise eyes. Letting out a heavy sigh, he ran a hand through his hair in exacerbation. He couldn't look at you again as he spoke. I'll see you later. You were confused by how all of this played out, but you hoped it was true. Right? Bye, Cove. At that, you were suddenly wrapped in a tense embrace. All as panicked as he was, he seemed to be something he couldn't forget before leaving. Thanks again. You're my very best friend, Rose. No one else comes close. He firmly whispered the words into the top of your shoulder. It made you feel tingly. But you were let go before you had a chance to respond or fully react. In a matter of seconds, he had climbed over your bed, opened the window, a cool breeze rolled off the ocean, fluttering through Cove's hair and filling your room with a salty scent. Cove anxiously stepped out onto the ledge. You wished him luck. Good luck, be super careful. You weren't sure if he heard you or not, but he kept going along, one foot in front of the other with increasing speed until his form disappeared out of sight. You stuck your head out the window as far as you could to try to keep watch. He walked the full length of the ledge before jumping down on top of the garage. Or the garbage. Garage? I can't talk today. My apologies. He walked the full length of the ledge before jumping down on top of the garage, then lowering himself onto the fence. From there, he finally dropped down to the ground. He threw out a thumbs up as he successfully climbed. He ran off towards his house without stopping, disappearing behind the side of another building. You had to admit that you were pretty impressed at how doable he made that look. Cove always seemed to have a way of seeming so smooth without even meaning to. That was so cute. I have a feeling he got caught though. With a little sigh, you reclosed your window, deciding there was nothing more you could do. You hopped off your bed and got ready to head downstairs for the day. You made your bed. It was a habit of yours. You straightened up your sheets, smoothed over your comforter, and fluffed your pillows before stepping back and admiring your work. You took the stairs, slowly attempting to mask your face into a look of innocence. You were sure that someone would have come into your room if they had heard anything strange, but you couldn't be too careful. You had to play it cool. When you stepped into the living room, Elizabeth was there, tapping her finger on the counter. "Good morning, Elizabeth." She looked you over immediately, her eyes squinting at the greeting. "Why are you being so weird?" You hadn't done anything. Your big sister never missed a beat. You turned and offered a tight smile, and her lips pursed together even tighter. "Rose?" You shrug it off. "I'm not." You spoke so nonchalantly you almost thought she believed you, but you knew better. Further suspicion squinted occurred as she waited for something, but ultimately she rolled her eyes and you weren't sure if you were in trouble or not. She didn't seem to care enough to dig any further. Whatever. And then she walked straight out the front door, letting it slam shut behind her, and you let out a sigh of relief. Elizabeth went out most days to hang out with her friends from school around town. Today you were extra glad for it, though you were also grateful she hadn't left the house any sooner and risked running into Cove. It looked like you were getting away with that. Breakfast was eaten in peace and alone. Your moms were both out by the time you had gotten up. If they had left, you ate serving of food from the breakfast they made, hash browns, an omelet, a fruit salad, and there were a few sausage links. That sounds amazing. Sorry, I like the music. You took a bite of a bit of everything. It was tasty. You appreciated that there were a variety in your meals your moms made. The day lazily drifted by at home, and eventually your parents returned. You pulled open the fridge again, lingering in the frosty air for a moment or two before grabbing a bottle of ice cold water and taking a long drink. It was a perfect balmy summer afternoon, and you had decided to head outdoors and find something to do. You hadn't decided what something was just yet, but you were sure something would pop up to occupy your time. As you were headed out the front door, you paused for a moment. You hadn't seen Cove since he had left this morning, and you couldn't help but think about what had happened to him. Would it be bad to go over to his house right now or call him to check in? You stepped out of your house, still stuck in the internal debate with yourself, when a voice caught your attention. "Hi, Rose." Confused, you look over to where an unrecognizable woman was waving at you, friendly smile plastered on her face. You racked your memory from where you might have seen her before, but nothing came to mind. Not your school, not from the country club your moms took you to. You had absolutely no idea who this woman was. It's probably Cole's mom. The woman crossed the road towards you, and you were a little unsure whether you should stay put or go back into the house and lock the door. That's gotta be his mama. That's his mama. That's Cole's mom. Oops. I'm sorry, was that presumptuous? I've heard about you, but you have no idea who I am, do you? You shook your head as she removed her sunglasses to reveal sparkly ocean blue eyes. All of a sudden, she seemed a little more familiar. "My son lives here, and my ex too." With a bent smile, she lifted a hand to point at the condos across the street from your own house. She was Cole's mom. You didn't know why you hadn't realized sooner, now that you've gotten a good look at her. She's really pretty. She was super pretty, yeah. This beautiful lady was Cole's mother. Wow. It was crazy how both his parents were good looking. No matter your thoughts on her, you still felt taken aback that she had appeared here so suddenly. Cove mentioned she was coming, but you hadn't gotten the impression it would be like the very next day, like at all. Wasn't thinking that. She extended a hand again, this time for you to take, and you studied the manicured fingers in front of your face and assorted of bracelets that dangled from her wrist. "I'm Kyra Priest. You can call me Kyra." You shook her hand. You reached out and took her hand, and she shook yours firmly, grinning wide. "I'm Rose, but you already know that." "That I do. Cove mentioned you to me before. It's nice to officially meet you, Rose." Cove talked to you about his mom. He hadn't mentioned how he said things about you to her. "Nice to meet you too." "What has Cove said about me?" "Oh, I can't tell you that. I've already said too much." She laughed good-naturedly. You couldn't be happy about that answer, though. There he is. The sound of a door opening and closing caught your both attention. cut off your attention. And when you turned towards the sound, it was to find Cove exiting his house, and his eyes skimmed the ground. Considering just how tall he had grown, you kind of figured his mom also would have been tall, but she was much more on the short side for an adult anyway. Cove's height must have come from his father. There you are. I thought you were going to keep me standing here all day. You tried to catch Cove's eyes as he walked towards you, but his gaze was firmly fixed on the sidewalk. When he finally crossed the road and looked up, he gave you a pitiful look. After the way he had acted last night, you knew he must have been feeling pretty mixed up about this. You tried to wordlessly express that you understood. Cove and I are headed into town to grab something to eat while the snore is at work. Kyra beamed at Cove and ruffled his hair, which only seemed to upset him more. You amused the snore. She was talking about Mr. Holden. Hey, you should come with us, Rose. I'd love to get to know you better. Yeah, you should come. The look on that man's face says, save me, please. Okay, guys, I'm actually going to cut it here. Thank you for joining me on this long part for Our Life Beginning and Always. And I will catch you guys on the next Mushy Monday. Bye.